Thank you very much. And so it's kind of nice to have a diverse group here from different cities, from different states, and even from different countries. And as a utility guy, this is what utility guys think of. Where's your next water come from? Because I can probably guarantee, no matter where you're from, your town, when it began, only began there because there was a source of water. Numero uno, that's it. Why would your community grows, whether it's an agricultural community or economic diversity community or something or other, you're going to need more water. And as your community grows, you're going to need more water. And if you're lucky enough, perhaps your community started with an abundant supply, a nice stream or a deep well in the center of town. Dr. Sabatini showed where originally, Chicago started with a well in Chicago. And as communities grow, you realize you're starting to crap up where you live, and so you start reaching out further to get clean water. And so as your community grows, you need more water, you start reaching out. So maybe that stream or that reservoir or the river lasted for a few decades, but then you need more water. And so as you start reaching out further and further and further, now perhaps you're encroaching on another community's source of water. And we realize that there's no single source of water is perfect. This reservoir we have, Lake Thunderbird, looks really, really big. It is pretty big, but it doesn't take much of a couple years of drought to make a significant dent in your reservoir. And similarly, groundwater, we also have wells. We have surface water and well water, but the wells are not infinite. You can only poke a hole, or you can only poke so many holes into a reservoir, into an aquifer, and expect to continue to get water out of it. And our aquifer has another unique problem, as Dr. Andy Madden talked about, is we have heavy metals. So those are some of the things you have to consider. So as a utility guy in a community, you think, well, where is my next source of water? And you do a plan. You do a 50-year, 40-year plan to get more water. An interesting piece we also did with our community when we put this plan together is we looked at paired comparisons. What means more to you as a community? Affordability was good. Long-term reliability was number one. Long-term reliability and then efficient source of water resources. Our community was concerned about our water resources and the efficient use of what we're doing. Not just get more water, get more water, get more water. Conservation was a big piece of the puzzle, but also looking at what we're doing with our water. And both of these, environmental stewardship, efficient use of water, long-term reliable, was more than affordability. And you think for our customers, that's, again, as utility, we send customers bills every month. You think affordability would be a big deal. But they looked beyond that and they thought, where's our next source of water and what's a long-term supply and what's an efficient use of what we have? And so that's where we came up with, we did a number of portfolios, but for long-term supply, this is what our community chose, to do IPR, indirect potable reuse, where you take water from our reservoir, you treat it at our water treatment plant, you run it through the whole community, everybody gets to use what they want to use, then you run it back through our water reclamation facility. And again, in the old days, there used to be wastewater treatment plants or sewage treatment plants. But now, throughout the country, there are water reclamation facilities or water resource recovery facilities because they know that we're treating this to a degree that has never been done before. Our treatment techniques are so much better than they've been done before. So you can treat it here, add additional advanced treatment, and discharge it through another tributary to the reservoir. So it goes another 3 or 4 miles before it ever hits the reservoir, and then it enters back into the reservoir to be used again. This is a very sustainable way of using our water. And as Greg just talked about, the state legislature, knowing that we have this state requirement or state goal of water for 2060, using no more fresh water in 2060 than you do in 2010, said, well, you guys need to come up with rules. And so we've worked with DEQ, OWRB, the technology group, consultants to come up with additional rules and regulations for IPR, and we have them now in place. So talking to a bunch of STEM people here, the technology is not that tough. We can figure it out. The hard part is getting everybody to buy in. So we have IPR regulations in place. We're working on getting them usable, essentially. We're going to be doing pilot projects to prove that they're usable. But we also need help in building public support, public buy-in. So the technical people are okay with this because technically we can do it. You know you can do it. You need the community to buy in this also, to make sure we have a sustainable supply. As a utility, we do a lot more than just IPR, but that's what we're working on now. But I'd be happy to talk about other things some other time. Thanks.